Hello world of YouTube and welcome to my second list for List Week 2022, my top 20 favorite singles that dropped last year. Now, longtime viewers of the channel may remember I used to do like my top 20 songs and didn't stick to singles, but I didn't do that last year because last year was last year, and I figured if I was bringing back songs, I would focus on singles. The last time I did a songs list had singles on there already, so let's just cut the shit, give myself a different caveat to focus on, and maybe give myself a more diverse list this time around. And the only other personal definition I gave to a single outside of the traditional one of a song released before or during an album cycle to promote said album or release to promote a different product altogether. I'm also putting songs that got a music video in that vein or made it a candidate for the list because if the band decided to creatively focus energy into one song, it should be a video, right? And I also, as always, stick to one artist per entry. And one of the things I learned while making this list is that even though TikTok has played a big hand in helping drive singles into the charts, some songs or sounds that I heard on TikTok did not make that translation in the same way that I thought they would. Songs like Static by Steve Lacy and Bizcochito by Rosalita were not singles, so they aren't on this list, but if they were, they would have ended up there. With all these rules and stuff out of the way, let's cut the shit and get into the list, though. Give it a like if you're excited, and let's dive on in. Similarly to the track John L., I really appreciate Sugar Zoo for just being a whirlwind of energy with this sinister edge that Hellfire captures as a record and a nice concentrated dose. I love how tight the band sounds, the horn arpeggios with the drums just flying out of the woodwork, while their vocalist Jordy Greep details this dark, dramatic murderer through the eyes of the killer, discussing motive and all this sort, while having this same bombastic theatricality that the album carries as a whole. I think that this is a good introduction, or at least taste, of what that album's sound has going on while tapping into the overall atmosphere. And it's a really good song at that shows the talent of the band still firing and expanding in their own prog-tastic way.
This is why I don't leave the house. You say the coast is...
Sometimes when introducing a new sound, you just gotta go all in and dive headfirst into the deep end. And this is why introduces a different sound to Paramore than I'm embracing, full stop. I love the groove of this song. The bass and drum relationship is incredible, and it suits the overall frustrations and bitterness felt by Hayley as she expresses her frustration seen as a frontwoman of a very popular band. I think that it's a really sharply written song with a great hook that has just some sleekness to it that they further expanded on in the follow-up single, but I was addicted to the song from second one. I think that its hook is powerful. The adorning of this post-punk edge really fits them transcending into a new era well also, and I'm excited. It got me very excited to hear more of this style of Paramore, similarly to what Hard Times did for After Laughter, and it's just got me so filled with joy. Now, while I liked Bite Back, the lead single for Algiers' upcoming album Shook, I thought that Backwash and Billy Woods worked really well on that track, and it was a good job at, similarly to This Is Why, introducing a new era for this band. Seeing Franklin James Fisher, a guy who I think lyrically really throttles in a similar pocket to Zack de la Rocha, get to work with Zack de la Rocha on a banger like this, just warmed my heart. I've been vowing for Algiers since their debut. Seeing them live was incredible. I'm happy to see them work with a lot of artists seemingly that I really enjoy, and I think that these two work together and make some really good magic on this song. I love the instrumental. The initial drop grabs you and holds you in place while Franklin and Zack do their thing. This song is incredible. It's already probably going to be a highlight for me from Shook, and similarly to Bite Back, just got me even more amped for this album from these guys. You must have burst me out of my head. I'm wondering, how did I get this? seeing Everything dive even further into dance-driven synth pop actually got me really excited for a new project from them, because while I like the very Radiohead-influenced Reanimator, at the core, these guys are an energetic, frenzied pop band, and I think that them harnessing that into a dark, sinister tale of murder is a really good MO for them, and I think that they really did a good job at selling this album initially with that song. I think that it does a good job at showcasing an evolution of style while bringing in some good lyricism. And I like the hook of the song. I like that it still has that very wordy style that the band does very well. And I think that it was just, again, a fucking bop when it dropped, and it had me hooked, and it led to what I would argue is one of their strongest albums to date.
On Cracker Island, it was raised by the collective.
Listen, while I liked Song Machine as a whole, it felt like the Gorillaz sort of trying to get their groove back. I like that on Cracker Island they are essentially pillaging forth on bigger concepts again, while keeping that collaborative intimacy still intact. I think that the idea of observing stan culture as a cult is a really good idea. And I feel like not only is the groove insatiable on this, but Thundercat's backup vocal contribution on top of the bass just pairs really well with the atmosphere crafted by Damon, and their vocals kind of pair really well together. And it has me, again, similarly to Bite Back, and this is why, just more excited for albums that are dropping this year, and has a really nice build up throughout the song. I think that as the song evolves and it gets bigger, it keeps me hooked and gets me amped, and it gets me into what's going on lyrically. And I like the song a lot. I think it's really tight and bold. Sometimes a tight groove about gambling is all you need, and Sunflower Beans Roll the Dice does a good job at showing the band's core ideals amidst its expansions that we're seeing on their newest album, Head Full of Sugar. I think that the trade-off of both vocalists comes across really well. The synthetic ambience suits a lot of what the album is toying with, and the overall melding of that with their core production ideals of punchy drums, fuzzy guitars, and sharp bass works incredibly well. I love this song, and while it wasn't initially my favorite song, the more that I listened to it after the album had come out got me really into it, and it got me even more into the imagery, and it got me into the seedy sounds that the album is throttling with, and it ultimately became my biggest takeaway from the project. But I love this song, and I think that it's a really catchy, tight jam that has a nice fizzle-out finale amidst its build-up that happens throughout it. The further gambling that happens, the deeper and darker things go. I think that it's a great song, and again, sometimes you just need a tight, good song about gambling.
It's 11 o'clock on the dot, I'm on the block. Ain't no time for no sleeping, a yawn and no whatnot. 12 running around creep.
Now, I talked about this song on my Denzel features list last year, but Dog Food is such a catchy, infectious jam. When a pre-chorus is as infectious as its chorus, you know you've got a really good song in its hand. IDK sells this hook while having some good metaphor spinning on what dog food represents as far as, like, slanging in the streets that you've lived in. And I think that Denzel's contributions further enhance those themes. Both of their flows are liquid smooth over this just really silky, well-produced beat by Kaytranada. I love this jam, and I've already given it a lot of praise, but seriously, one of the best hip-hop cuts of the year. Bouncing back after failure can be a really hard task to accomplish, but when you're a band and you know you've got some magic on your hands, sometimes you just gotta start with one of your best feet forward, and Traps is absolutely that, reaffirming that Block Party have not lost their touch. I think it was smart to have a lead single for this album be one that has the talents of Justin Harris and Louis Bartle showcased up front and center, given your last album kind of put them more in the backseat. I think that the rhythm section on this song is top fucking notch. The chorus of this classic Block Party, the tongue-in-cheek lyrics feel very classic Block Party. It's the band recapturing a little bit of that magic that got people into them in the first place tenfold. And I think it's awesome that it's not the sole great song from Alpha Games, but I think that it is absolutely one of the best. I think that it's just the band at their tightest, writing in a lane that I feel like they haven't channeled in a while, and doing it so well.
Outside isn't what it seemed. It seemed like nothing up the sleeve until it's something loud. Let's dig and host the
A Meeting in the Mind's the witch that pleased my hip-hop heart. Two of my favorite lyrical rappers, Lupe Fiasco and Aesop Rock, two artists in a really good hot streak, coming together and making a really dense lyrical song to save a couple skate parks. Aesop Rock is already rekindling some romance with Blockhead, given they had the Garbology album that came out last year. So to introduce Lupe into that formula just feels like some real magic. I think the two showcase their verbosity full stop over this haunting beat that feels like it's sort of ripped out of the early Ace Rock playbook. They both provide two sides to a narrative, outside and inside, and I think both harmoniously come together in glorious fashion. Really some dream idolization for me, and I was so happy to see it come together. And while I don't think it'll lead to anything else, I wouldn't mind seeing these two work together again personally. When I first heard Taylor Swift's Anti-Hero, Foxglove was immediately the song that came to mind, because both explore one's own internal realization that maybe everyone else's problems aren't them, but you. And I really like the way that this song tackles it similarly to Anti-Hero. I just think the writing on Foxglove is just a little bit better. I think the hook is incredibly strong. I love the lead riff and the thunderous drums. The breakdown of the bridge is also a really nice touch, but I think that it has all of the trappings of a really good, big, bombastic rock song and sticks the landing tenfold. A real slice of life amidst one's own built-up frustrations, amidst their own struggle, that one could write off as just a product of an environment, when really it is a piece of a bigger problem and a bigger picture that the song kind of alludes to dissecting, but also discusses just one's own pent-up frustrations with just trying to live. This paranoia of not really feeling safe amidst anywhere, to the point that you've got to carry at all times because you don't know who's going to run up on you. And I feel like it's a really good vision and insight into one's own struggle incredibly well. It is a real feeling punk song on a real feeling punk album.
I'm an anomaly. I turned into a rap ironically and ran the back up, niggas is on me.
Another song that feels like a piece of an overall picture. Surround sound sees JID and 21 Savage delivering verses talking about their own perspective from the streets. Baby Tate acts as an incredible bridge across two parts of a song. Both beats on this song are incredible. The Aretha Franklin sample being woven really well into the beat before the second half and flow switch up throttles you into a different pocket. I love this song. It's not my favorite from the Forever Story, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. But surround sound is a great showcasing of what the Forever Story has throttling on as far as lyrical content, overall production style, as far as the overall beat switch-ups, and the palette at which both beats sound. I feel like Jid's flow is tight. It's got a feature from one of the biggest artists of the year, and is incredible, even if it's not my favorite song on the album. Really, one of the big reasons why I like this song is that it utilizes that dense guitar production that Vaxxus 2 had masterfully. That drop into the chorus is insanely good. And I think that the leads on here are great. Claudio fits into that pocket perfectly, and it's a song that I got hooked onto from second one. I think that it showcases that a band this far into the career can still write some infectious fucking bops that transcend the concept and break emotions down in a very simple but effective manner. And I think it's interesting to write a song about people that would much, much rather lie to somebody than give them the boring old truth. Matt Tong is cropping up twice on this list in the form of Rina Sawayama's Frankenstein, a song that sees Rina Sawayama painting herself as this monster that needs help with 10 tons of bombast. While I thought her sophomore outing was a little bit of a slump, Frankenstein was absolutely a highlight with a chorus that breaks the rafters down into tiny little molecules. The chorus of this song is immense. There is so much energy here that Rina just reins in and harnesses with such tenacity. I think Matt Tong was the perfect choice to help push that energy with such fierce momentum. He electrifies this song in all the ways that I love to see. I love this song, and it makes me wish her last album, her most recent album, was much better, because this song is an all-time classic, and I wish there were more of that on the album.
Oh, baby, baby, you won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul.
I think I said it in my Renaissance review, but the best flex Beyonce had this year was dropping this after Drake dropped Falling Back, because Break My Soul is how you do a house-influenced colossal pop jam. Talks about, similarly to some of the songs I've talked about already, being just fed up with being stuck in the machine, while also retaining the strength within to transcend above it. Saying, you won't break my soul, you won't kill this energy, you will not kill my vibe. With a song, with an instrumental that makes me want to dance into the night. The hook of the song is incredible. I love everything about the energy of the song, and I think that Beyonce selling her house-influenced album with a song like this was infinitely better than when Drake tried to do it. And unlike, honestly, Nevermind, I think that Break My Soul does a good job at utilizing a house influence in a way that feels like it's paying homage while bringing it into the modern age with its production ideals. You know, Beyonce's voice suits that sort of tribute well. I think she and Big Freedia also just suit the energy going on. You know, I feel like the production is just also fucking crisp in the best way possible.
Straight up. Cash in, cash out, cash in, cash out, cash in, cash out.
While I also think it's been a great year for Pharrell with the Pusha T stuff, and he did Lord Forgive Me by Toby Wigway, I think that this track is just a star-studded success. Because not only did Pharrell have a great year, but 21 Savage has been everywhere in 2022. And his bars on here, Tyler, the Creator. And while he does have a great verse that just goes in and just keeps on going over this great beat, Tyler, the Creator, steals the fucking show. His charisma on 10. Carrying that Call Me If You Get Lost energy into this year. An incredible verse from Tyler and 21 over an awesome beat. One of the best bangers I heard all year in a year full of bangers, my guy.
Yeah, while y'all was suffering from future shock, hurting and hating, waiting for that other shoe to drop.
It's also been a really good year for posse cuts, if I'm gonna be honest. But I mean, look at the roster of this track. You got Black Thought, you got Killer Mike, you got LP. You got A$AP Rocky. Over Danger Mouse production, top-notch stuff, my dudes. I love this track. I think everybody comes with some heat. And one of the other things I think is magical about this song is that while Killer Mike and LP have been doing things separate from Run the Jewels, I think that it's cool that when they still come together, they just pair so fucking well over anything. It's also been really cool to hear LP over more dudes' production that isn't his, because he just has this fire in his wordplay that's just top notch. But I love that these two still pair so well together, and I think that this is just a cocktail for success with Strangers. I think the production is great. I think that the bars are fantastic, and again, posse cut of the year, hands down.
The culture.
My favorite Kendrick Lamar cut is a pre-album single that sets the stage for an album at hand. And what I like about The Heart Part 5 is it does the same for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It talks about icons within the black community, both beloved and not, through their POV, and I think that Kendrick taps into that masterfully with his own perspective delved into there as well. I think that it introduces that lush production that coats Mr. Morale fantastically, and I think that it also teases some of those therapeutic sessions that were kind of delved into more intimately on there by talking about his own generational problems. But I think that it's a really good focalizing on that to kind of set you up before the album rollout happens.
Tonight I'm gonna be rocking it, dropping it. Shake my ass, no stopping it. I look hot in it.
Charlie XCX and Tiesto made me want to shake my ass all fucking summer. The hook of the song is infectious. The thudding groove keeps me locked into a rhythm the entire time, and it's a shame that she didn't save this to put it on Crash, because it's like I said in my redacted, a great embodiment of that album's sonic identity. Love this track, was my song of the summer, hands down. And as far as my song of the year goes, it should really be a surprise to nobody.
Clear a path as I keep on walking. Ain't no stopping in this dirty, filthy, rotten, nasty live.
Talking about beat switch-ups, the beat switch-up on Walkin' is incredible. Denzel teased his lyrical dexterity and overall focalizing of his content masterfully on this song, and I think that his flow is still top-notch. Was one of the smoothest Denzel songs I'd heard when it dropped. I'd still consider it one of his smoothest songs after hearing Melt My Eyes. It was the song I spun the most in 2022. Are you surprised? It's my single of the year.
Hell, the only song to come remotely close to passing Walkin' is Stars by J.I.D. And that song still didn't pass it, in spite of having one of the best hip-hop instrumentals I've ever heard in its first half, with another fantastic switch-up into a feature from one of the greatest rappers of all time, whose inclusion on the song acts as a payoff from a planting moment earlier in the album.
And that is my list. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm gonna go though. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about my worst albums. Thank you again so very much for watching. I've been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.